All right. So I just want to show y'all a couple things that you're going to need. This is actually like 5 ways to trace or transfer images very quickly and easily. There's 2 different types of paper you can have. There's tracing paper, which is very transparent and see-through. And then there's this just regular computer paper, which is what most people have. I just want to show you a couple different ways to get any picture that you print out from your computer or wherever onto this page so that you could put onto another page that you might actually draw on. So this next method is just taking an actual piece of paper and just taping it onto your computer screen. So I'm just going to show you how to do it real quick. One thing that you want to keep in mind of when you're doing this is you don't want to press too hard on your screen because you might mess it up. And you may want to change the orientation so that you could get a bigger picture. So what I mean is if I go to this and I just rotate like that, and when I go to full size, I can kind of zoom in. I'm just going to put my paper down just like that. And then you want to just turn up your screen brightness as much as it goes. So hopefully you guys can see that. I'm just going to turn off one of my cameras. And then you're just going to get your pencil. And you're just going to lightly kind of sketch. It's going to be hard to see the details this way because the picture probably has a lot of details. But what you want to do is just get the general idea of what's going on in the picture. You do not want to press down really hard on this at all. You want to just lightly press down. You don't want to damage your computer screen. So definitely treat your screen with respect if you want to use this method. It's one of the easiest ways if you're not that confident in your drawing, but you have a really good idea that you just want to get out into the world and you just don't have any ideas how to do it. So this is just a real quick version. And I may like adjust this. Maybe I might change just a little bit. And then this is not like a final piece, but this is just like a rough start. And that could be somewhat of a beginning to like my picture. So you can probably go there with more detail if you hold your phone and you're not trying to record this. But that's one method that you could use to transfer your ideas onto paper. All right, you guys. So this is the next part. I'm going to take this picture that I have printed out. If you want to do this with a printed out image or a magazine cutout, it works. But I'm going to take this and I'm going to tape it against the window. And the window has a very natural source of light depending on what time of day it is. But this is a really great way to be able to trace effectively too. So I'm putting my tracing paper, which is just like a regular sheet of computer paper over. And I'm just going to turn off my studio light. And hopefully you could see through a little bit. And when you're doing this, you're just tracing it and just doing exactly what you see. Now, the brighter the outside light is, the better you're able to see the image. So it'll be easier for you to trace it. I think there's another eye in here somewhere. And then that could be like a rough start to my picture right there. So I have kind of like the beginnings of it. It's not exactly perfect, but it's a good start to kind of get your picture going and then add in like the rest of the details that you need. All right, guys, so we have 3 pieces of paper right here. 2 just regular pieces of computer paper and 1 picture that I ripped out of a magazine. This is the picture I'm going to be tracing right here and trying to get onto here. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So first, we're going to start off with number 1. And all I'm going to do is take my pencil, make sure it's nice and sharp, and make sure that you look at the number so that it says 2B or 2HB. That's what you want to be using for this because the lead will spread easier. So I'm going to take this and turn my pencil sideways, not pointed like this, but like leaning a little bit. And I'm just going to like scribble all the way down. And what I'm trying to do is cover this with graphite so that I could use it to transfer the drawing. Good. And once I have that, that seems like it's good enough to me. I could turn sideways and load up as much as I want on how much I need. And you know what? That's good. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my number 2 sheet and I'm going to put it down. I'm going to take my number 1 sheet and I'm going to flip it over on top of the number 2 sheet. And then I'm going to take my picture and lay that right on top of both sheets. I'm going to take my pencil, again, make sure it's sharp. And all I'm going to do is really push down and try to get the details of the character. You don't want to try to get every single detail. You just want to get the ones that give you enough to be able to look at it when you're done and draw it. So I'm going to attempt to do this with this picture of Goku. Hopefully it comes out well because I haven't done this technique in a pretty long time. But this is a great way to train your brain on how to see like outlines when you're looking at artwork or trying to draw artwork or anime or characters. So I'm going to get around the eyes. The nose is very simple. Mouth is very simple. And then we want to get the jaw, the ear, the trapezius, the neck, and then he has a massive shoulder. So we're going to go around with this kind of like a tunic or robe or whatever it is. And then we're going to make the arms. So I'm just going to do the top half and just try to get the details as much as I can because I'm going to go back after and just draw it. And remember to put a fair amount of pressure on this so that the image comes out. Because if you don't press down hard, you're probably not going to see what you're looking for or the details of the picture you're trying to draw or trace or transfer. All right, so I think we're almost done here. Hopefully this came out. So let's see it. And let me just do one more part right here. Okay, so take this off, take that off, and there we go. We got like a decent amount of it right there. I think I lost a little bit of the hair, but you can probably just add it right back on. So I'll just kind of draw it in more detail a little bit more. Here's a chin, here's that. Here's the hair. Because I lost some of the hair, I'm just going to freestyle it right now by looking at the image. And this is the one kind of like right here. And then this one goes all the way up. And then there's like a little kind of like thing right here. All right. So now we also want to get the details of the hand. I'm not going to go like in super detail with this. I'm just going to draw what I think the hands are kind of doing right there. It's almost like they're gripping or wrapping around. And he's like fastening his fist to get ready to start a tournament or something. So this would be kind of like the beginnings of my drawing. No way is this like the end or like I'm done after this. This is just getting some like brief things on the page. The one other thing about this too is that if your picture isn't big enough, then you still have a whole lot of this space down here. And you also want to think about the placement of where it's going to be. So should this be more like in the center or should it be more to this side? Am I going to start adding in like legs after this? So think about those things when you start creating these images and just using this technique. Hey, what's up, y'all? So I just wanted to show you this next method to transfer any image. This one is just a bunch of pictures of tigers that I printed out. You could do one big one. I just have like a couple of little ones right here. So one of the methods that you could use is if you have regular tracing paper, you can just take this and put it on top and you should be able to see through and sketch whatever you want and do whatever you want. But if you don't have this special paper, you could try to do this technique with just regular computer paper. So I already have a sketch on there, but right here you can't really see through the paper. Like I can kind of see it a little bit, but one method that you could do to be able to create like a DIY light box is you could just take your phone and just turn up the brightness all the way. and just grab this and stick it underneath. And you guys can't see it that well on my screen because it's a little bright, but if you hold it very still, you can kind of trace your image that way too. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that you don't want to press down on this too hard because you don't want to damage your phone. This method is very tricky though because it's so small. But this is definitely in a clutch if you're like, I really don't want to draw this or I can't figure out how to draw this. And I just need a quick method to make my life easier and get my idea out there. One other thing too is you may want to like turn off the limiter for the like the dimming or the brightness on your screen so it doesn't like turn off every minute. So for mine, it kind of does that. The other thing that you could do too is you could flip this, turn on your flashlight, and then you could do the flashlight method where you could definitely see it. It's super easy. This will be a little bit tricky to balance on here because you're literally just holding it up in the air and drawing on air. But you just want to draw lightly. That's the trick. And it doesn't have to be like perfect. You just want to get like the general idea of what's happening in there. Like this is its chin. This is that. And there's this. And there's a couple more here. So now I'm just gonna take my phone away, and then let's turn on the lights. And we kind of got like a decent beginning of this sketch right here. So if I want to, I can kind of continue and just freehand it and try to fix some of the stuff that I missed when I was trying to do it. This is one method. Again, the only limitation to this is that Review Draw is just going to be really small, or it could be limited to the size of the screen that you're using. So if you have an iPad or a tablet, you could use that to do this same technique. But you just want to keep in mind that you don't want to push down really hard because you just don't want to break your screen. So that is this method of how to transfer your images. There you go.